Shalom, Mishpah. Shalom, 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 shalom. Baruch atah to you families of Yasharal. Hallelujah. Yahuwah is collecting us from the four corners of the earth. This is the second part, second portion of the first video that I made. If you have not watched the first video, please watch the first video before you watch this one, because then you'll understand what I'm talking about. We're just to recap over it. First we were talking about Yahuwah renewing Deuteronomy 30, the blessings and the covenant of Torah. And the first one we were talking about the renewing of the promised land. We were talking about the actual physical promised land and the land that we're going to possess from Mitzrayim, Nile Mitzrayim, to Euphrates, Assyria. And we were correlating the scriptures and how talking about a holy convocation that Yahuwah is going to bring about to bring his people back into the land. All right, so this second part we're going to do 3 and 4. There's only 4 points that I have for you guys. Okay, so for 3 we're going to be talking about the responsibilities of our work, like the responsibilities that we're going to have when we enter there into the promised land. We already talked about planting and harvesting, so we're definitely going to be doing that. How we're going to tend to the land, because we know that Yahusha talks about how he is married to the land, and it's also the land of his birth. He cares about the land. All right, so let's read here in Ecclesiastes 8:15. This is basically, y'all, how we're going to be living life. This is how life is going to be for us, because we know in Revelation, which is the holy convocation itself, he said, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. That means it's a whole new economy. It's a whole new way of living for us. For the holy city that's given to us. And that's from the river Nile all the way to the river Euphrates. And you guys can go and read that in Genesis 15, 18. And also it talks about it in Isaiah 19, 23 to 25. And that's what we talked about in our last video. All right, so let's read Ecclesiastes 8:15. And this is what life is going to be for us. And this is really good, because I know for a lot of my brethren who aren't gathered, like for the people who are assembling, and we have what we call camps now. When back in Torah, Yahusha said the camp, he calls us the camp of Yasharal. It's the camp of Israel. So we were one. But right now, since we're scattered abroad and everything, we know that there's a lot of camps and everything. And y'all, there's a lot of camps also you don't need to be following. So, but I'm talking about the true assemblers, the true people who have the Ruach HaKodesh, talking about Yahushua HaMashiach and speaking truth according to Torah and according to scripture. So this Exodus is going to be so good for us, because for some of us who live in, because I can speak for myself, I live in a city and there's no gathering, and I'm just stuck watching videos on YouTube of my people having a good time together, and it can get very discouraging, and it can get very hard, because it's just like, man, I want to be dancing with y'all. I want to have brotherly love and kindness, especially for me. Just to give y'all a little bit of my testimony, as y'all seen in my other videos, I don't have family. All right, as I told y'all, my family is of the Mason sect. They Masons, they in secret societies and stuff, and I've been an example to them and stuff like that. But when it's time to cut people off, Yahusha cut them off, I'm gonna cut them off too. Okay, so, and that's what it has to come to. That's what you have to do, because if people want to hold on to demons and stuff, you can't evangelize. You can't force Yahusha on them. Yahusha don't do that. When you think of Yahusha, when he was here and he cast this evil spirit off the man who would stay in the graves and stuff, when he entered the city with his disciples, and he cast the demons off the man, and the demons went to the pigs, and the pigs drowned. And then after that, the people of that city was like, we don't want you here. We don't want you here. And it's just like, why would you not want me here? And that's a good thing. So it's the same for me. And, we suffer as a good soldier of Hamashiach. And that's what we do. So that's why we know that Yahusha in his second Exodus and his plan for the second Exodus is so good and anointing for us, because we can actually be around people that want to be around us. And I'm speaking that from my own personal testimony. We're around people that are like. We're gathered amongst people that are like. And for me, I don't have many friends. And look, I'm from the tribe of Levi. And in the Torah, it talks about Levi will give a mother-daughter. Levi give up everybody to follow to do Torah, to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, to follow Hamashiach. And that's what's known from the tribe of Levi. And when you look at that, that's also what's known in a disciple. Peter had a whole business. Peter was rich. That's why Peter had asked. He had asked Hamashiach. He was like, because Hamashiach was like, it's very hard for the rich to enter into the kingdom of heaven. And the disciples was like, well, who gonna be able to enter in? Why? Because the Hebrews were wealthy. Hebrews were a wealthy people. We were a wealthy people. But when Hamashiach got into it, like he was explaining it to them, he was like, it's a spirit. It's a wealthy like spirit. And then they started talking about, we gave up everything to follow you. And that's also a spirit of a disciple. So it talks about how Levi, does that. They did that as priests in Torah. But we also know that that is that's the spirit also of a disciple. Because Peter was wealthy. He had a whole fishing business. Who wasn't buying fish? That man was wealthy. He came out the boat, was like, oh, there go the Son of Man, let's go. I'm finna, And then that's when Yahushua was like, nah, Peter, you good. You did what I told you to do. Nicodemus at the time, he didn't understand. He's like, what? Let me sell everything I got? All right. But anyways, I'm saying that to say this is like us entering into the land is going to be good, because we will be around our brethren and people that love us. There's going to be so much love and saturation that Yahusha has for us, we're going to have towards each other. It's going to be an actual commandment of loving your neighbor as yourself. And y'all, that's hard to find in the world today. But when we get there, we're going to be living it. And it's going to be so marvelous and wonderful, because it ain't going to be no sin, as we talked about in the first video and I showed y'all in the scriptures. Something drastic is going to happen so much that we're not going to want to sin no more. We're not going to want to do those things that we used to do. Paul even talks about, he's like, you get to that point where you just done doing the things to the Gentiles. Paul talks about that in scriptures as well. That you just put off those things totally and completely. Because we know that we were once corrupt, living in the corruption of our minds and in silliness and lasciviousness. Paul talks about that, and y'all can go look that up as well. So the land is such a healthy and a healing place for people who aren't gathered, who don't have assemblies that they can attend, who are looking afar off, like Abraham did, as we read in Hebrews. Abraham looked afar off. He had a hope. He knew that promise was going to be afforded to him, but he didn't get it. Like, he didn't actually get the land that was promised to him from Egypt to Assyria. And that is still a commandment that is going to be fulfilled and given to his offspring, because he promised it to him. And because Abraham died in hope. He died in hope. He basically died in faith. And Yahusha vowed. He swore by no other greater than himself. He swore by himself that he'll do that thing, that he'll do it. He said, I'll do it, Abraham. I promised you. And though you die in hope, I'm going to do it. It's a written testament. It's an eternal audience. It's for my people, who are your people, who birth through you. And Yahusha can use you like that. He can use you like that. But let's go ahead and go to Ecclesiastes 8:15 to show you guys the responsibilities of our work and really the responsibilities of our living and how we're going to be living. And it says, Then I commended mirth, because a man hath no better thing under the sun than to eat and to drink and to be merry. For that shall abide with him of his labor, the days of his life, which Yahuwah giveth him under the sun. So we're going to live, we're going to eat, and we're going to be merry. That's our responsibility. And when y'all think about that, that's a far off from Babylon. Because when Babylon fall, y'all, that's it. That's it. And you're going to be so happy. And the scriptures talk about how we're going to cry. We're going to cry, y'all. We're going to cry and worship him so much, because it's going to be like, man, peace that surpasses all understanding for us who were oppressed so bad, beaten, bruised, bodies given to science, experimented with, raped, babies taken, having to work at McDonald's the rest of my life, can't retire till I'm about 75, can't get no rest, can't get my Social Security, want to live off disability because it's hard for me to work an 8-hour shift. Y'all, alas, Babylon, that great city Babylon is fallen. Y'all think about that. Then that's going to be our responsibility. Nothing but to eat, drink, and be merry. That's our responsibility. All right? Alas. I say it again. Babylon has fallen. All right? Jeremiah 31, 4, 6, and 7. Jeremiah 31. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yahusha HaMashiach. Hallelujah. I feel his presence, y'all. All right, Jeremiah 4. Again, I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O Virgin Yasharal. Thou shalt again be adorned with the tabrets, and shalt go forth in the dances of them that make merry. So what, we going to wear pretty apparel, tabrets. We going to have nice apparel. We going to be wearing that, what we wore before. Beautiful. We just going to be a beautiful people. We ain't going to be dressing in the ways of the Gentiles. And it talks about that in the scriptures too. How Yahuwah said we will wear the apparel of the Gentiles. But we're going to be wearing tabrets. And what we're going to be doing? Dancing and making merry. That's the responsibility in the land. It's basically to abide in his joy, to abide in his kingdom, to do your work in the way of his kingdom and in the way of his commandments. And it makes you happy and it makes you merry because you want to live for him, because you want to do those things for him. All right, so we're going to be dancing and making merry. Let's read verse 6. For there shall be a day that the watchmen upon the Mount Ephraim shall cry. This is what I was talking about. We're gonna cry. Arise ye, and let us go up to Zion unto our Yahuwah. So it's gonna be a great cry. So when we see that holy convocation come about and stuff, we're gonna cry, and it's gonna be so amazing because it'll be like, it's time. It's gonna be like a great relief that come from up off of you. It's like a great sigh. And watchmen upon Mount Ephraim. So Ephraimites gonna make the call. And they shall cry and arise and say, let us go up to Zion. Let's go back to Israel. Let's go back. Let's go. Let us go up to Zion, unto Yahuwah, our Elohim. Excuse me, y'all. All right. So we're going to be dancing and rejoicing. Verse 7. Let's go to verse 7. For thus saith Yahuwah, sing with gladness for Yaakov, and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye praise, and say, Yahuwah save thy people, the remnant of Yasharal. So we're going to be singing for gladness. This is what's going to happen. And this is what he's doing. And y'all can read verse 8. Y'all can read on, and it talks about how he gathers us. So what we're going to be doing, y'all, we're going to be living in peace. We're going to be eating good food. We're going to be happy. We're going to be merry. We're going to be dancing. We're going to be crying. We're going to be rejoicing. It's going to be a rejoiceful season for us. All right, what else is our responsibility? So let's go to Revelation 22:2. Because we know that the Holy Convocation has to do with Revelation. The Holy Convocation is Revelation. So Revelation 22:2, in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there a great tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. That is our responsibility, to go out and to heal the nations. Every month, we're going to go out and heal the nations. So we know that in Revelation, when you have a vision of something or a revelation of something, it is a heavenly image, or in heaven, we call it a metaphor. It's like a metaphor for something that is natural. So we know that a heavenly thing, the heavenly revelation that John had when he was envisioning Revelation, when Yahusha had sent him the vision of Revelation, it is metaphoric to what is naturally going to happen. So like when we talk about hearing the blowing of a trump, you don't actually hear a literal trump. Now, Yahusha can give you a spiritual revelation, and you can probably hear a trump or a ringing or whatever, or some type of noise or something like that. But when you read Revelation, you don't see the angels pouring the vials in the earth. You don't see the red horse and the white horse going forth. All you see is what it represents. So when you read that and you think about the 12, you think about the 12 tribes. You think about the 12 tribes. That's why he said 12 manner of fruits, and yield her fruit every month. We know that Yasharal has always been responsible for being the leader over nations. So, and it talks about us going out to heal the nations every month. So that's what's going to happen. Let's go down to verse 3 too. It says there should be no more curse. So those curses of Deuteronomy 28 and those curses that we are reading about in Torah, and just like I said before, there's going to be no more sin. Why? Because of Yahushua HaMashiach, the one who atoned for us. We're not going to be living under a curse anymore. We're going to be living under peace and joy, as I was describing before. But the throne of Yahuwah and the Lamb shall be in it. So that's why Yahuwah said there's going to be a new heaven and there's going to be a new earth, because Yahusha's Ruach HaKodesh. And when we talk about the Ruach HaKodesh, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit is like the wind. He's like the wind. And he's going to dwell in it. He's going to dwell in it. Shall be in it, and all his servants serve him. So we're going to be serving him, and we're going to be healing the nations. And that's how we know, like, our work. That's our responsibility. Healing the nations and dwelling with the Lamb. Isn't that, oh my gosh, y'all. It's going to be so wonderful and filled with peace. It should give you joy just hearing those words of life. And we're compared to the tree of life. Y'all, we're compared to the tree of life. Because as it talks about in Proverbs, it say, when you speak life, you'll eat the fruit thereof. You eat good fruit. When you speak words of life, you eat good fruit. It's like eating of the tree of life. And he in Proverbs talks a lot about the tree of life and eating its fruits and stuff. And Yahusha compares us, Yasharal, as the tree of life. Because it's going to be life. We're going to be life to Gentiles. And we're even going to be life to those who are of our people, who are still scattered abroad. Because remember, a remnant goes. And y'all remember, y'all read the scriptures, a remnant. And we're going to get them and we're going to be like, come on. Because we got Egypt to Syria. We're going to heal the nations. So y'all know some of those stubborn Hebrews that ain't really waking up yet and stuff. Best believe, just keep waiting on it. Keep waiting on it. Because Yahusha is very merciful. He loves his people. He loves his people, y'all. He loved his people. He kept taking them back over and over and over and over again. Every time we cried out to him, he took us back again, put us back in the land, saved us from our enemies. And this time he going to do it real big. He going to do it real big. He going to do it big, y'all. All right. And our responsibility, verse 4 says, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be on their foreheads. And there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun, for Yahuwah giveth them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to finish our years, as it talks about in the scriptures. We're going to reign. We're going to reign with him forever and ever. We're going to be in our own country, in our own land, like as before. And we ain't going back no more. And it's going to be good and plenteous. And it's going to be according to Torah. And it's going to be according to Yahusha HaMashiach. Because he is going to dwell with us. And as in being as there is no light. Not as in the literal sun. Like we won't need, as there being no night. It's not as in a literal no night. As in the light that's within us. As in the glory shined upon our face. As in the morning star rising in our hearts, as it talks about in Peter. So our spirit's we gonna glow with light. It's gonna be so beautiful. You know how when you see a black person and the sun brushes on them and they skin it's like and you see a holy person and they skin just kind of glow. Y'all look for it. It's like they skin glow. And it's beautiful because Yahusha is tabernacling with them. Yahusha HaMashiach, the Ruach HaKodesh, is inside of them. You can tell a holy person from an unholy person just by looking at them. And that's how discerned we should be. And be like, something about you stands out. It's because of the spirit. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to be like, you're not even going to need no night. Because people are going to see you from afar off. Every nation is going to come to your aid. And you're going to go to them and heal them. That's what he's talking about. And that's what I was saying about as in a metaphor. Or as what we call a metaphor. Or explaining those scriptural things. Of spiritual things that are seen in a vision. To natural things that are actually going to happen. And that's what Yahusha means by these scriptures. So that's our responsibility, y'all, to dwell with him and to heal the nations. We are like the tree of life. We are the head of nations. And we're also compared to a tree in Zechariah 4 and Revelation 11 when you hear about the 2 olive trees. When you hear about the 2 olive trees as being like... you guys can go and read in Zechariah 4 and Revelation 11. And I want to give y'all a little tidbit of what Zechariah 4 and Revelation 11 is. You guys read that for yourselves. But this portion is for my elect. This is for the people for my elect, for those who know this and who have studied and recall. So when you guys recall, and when Yahushua showed me this, I got really happy and excited. If you read in Ezekiel 37, it talks about the stick becoming one, the stick of let's go to it really quick. I want to see it really quick. But it's called the stick of Ephraim. And I talk about it in my other videos because I talk about that Book of Mormon, which is not the Book of Mormon. And ain't no such thing as no Joseph Smith. He was actually a Hebrew scholar in college who actually took the writings of Hebrews and, whatever. And made that Latter-day Saints church and corrupted it. And there's also, with Doctrines and Covenants, they plagiarized the names of the book of the record of what the disciples did when they were here and when they were scattered abroad, and also with what the people did when they were living here, when they got here to this America. Because we know what you call Indians and stuff ain't Indians, and the light-skinned Indians that you see today wasn't the same as the Indians before. With the there was a mixing and everything like that when the Europeans began to come and take over. So Ezekiel 37, and when I saw this, y'all, I was like, wow, y'all. I can't believe you showed me this. I can't believe you showed me this because I've never heard anybody talking about this. So those two olive branches that talk about, that Yahushua talks about in Zechariah 4 and Revelation 11, it has to do with the stick of Ephraim and basically all the other writings, such as the Bible. That basically has to do with Levi and Judah. Because we know that the 10 tribes, when they went to Syria, there was a lot more wars and things and European wars that happened in history with the Syria. And we had ended up migrating and moving around and everything, and eventually ended up here in this America. But also when you read the stick of Ephraim, which is actually called the stick of Ephraim, but the Gentiles took and corrupted it, so they call it the Book of Mormon. It's actually called the stick of Ephraim. When you read it, it talks about before when Jerusalem was finna be destroyed, 600 years before Yahushua HaMashiach had gotten here. It talks about in Exodus of the descendants of Joseph ending up here in this land by divine revelation and through by the Ruach HaKodesh and through Yahushua leading them here. And that's how you get a people, where it even talks about it in the history books, where it's just like Columbus sailed the ocean blue and talking with Indians. Even though our history teaches us Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered America, even though there were Indians already here. So it's just like, and those Indians, what you call Indians or what you call Native Americans, are those descendants of Joseph. They call them Lamanites, Lehites, things like that. You guys go read the stick of Ephraim. But that first olive branch is the stick of Ephraim. And that second olive branch that Yahushua is talking about is Levi and Judah, the writings of Levi and Judah, basically the Bible and of our history and things like that. Of the history of when we were still in the land during the time of Yahushua HaMashiach, and the other 10 were scattered abroad. The stick in Ezekiel 37, it talks about the stick becoming one stick. And this is the revelation of the whole prophecy, y'all. This is the revelation of the prophecy. Y'all get me. So one olive branch is the prophetic of those who were here. It's the prophetic of the 10 tribes. The other olive branch that talks about in Zechariah 4 in Zechariah 4 and Revelation 11 is of Levi and Judah. And that stick of Ephraim and our history becoming one. In Ezekiel 37, it talks about us becoming one, gathered, one. And that's what is meant by here in Revelation, as we just read. As we just read in Revelation 22:2, which in the midst of the street of it on either side of the river was there the tree of life, which bare the 12 manner of fruits, yielded her fruit every month. We're one tree now. And Ezekiel talks about it in chapter 37, one stick, where the sticks, the two tribes conjoining, were one. It's no longer the northern and southern tribe. It's no longer I belong to this and that, We're one. We are one tree of life. We're going to yield many fruits, and we're going to heal the entire nations. So I wanted to show you that prophecy that comes straight from Yahushua's mouth, to show you the responsibility of him, of what he's doing, bringing us as one, because there's a lot of us that don't really believe in the stick of Ephraim or believe the Book of Mormon, but you need to read it, and maybe you need teachers to explain it to you so that you can understand, because it matches up with Bible, it matches up with history. There's no denying it. It's truth, and when you read it, you understand that it's truth, and it even talks about it in our scripts. It talks about it, and it's truth. All right. So, and many of those who do read it, because a lot of Ephraim is here, and a lot of Ephraim is woken up. They just really quiet. They're really quiet and subtle people, and that's good. And we can learn from our brethren. They're really a quiet and subtle people. They Indians. Some of them on reservations. Some of them, they're Indians, and they're Native Americans, and they're beautiful, and they're very nice people, and they know the stick of Ephraim. They know the Book of Mormon, and they really just waiting on Levi and Judah to wake up, because Levi and Judah are the leaders over. We're the leaders. So when you read the testament of Levi, and it talks about him being a priest, and when you read the testament of Judah, Yahushua set Judah over all of us, actually. And you can even read that in Zephaniah, or it's either in Zephaniah or Zechariah. But you can read it throughout all the scripts. He set Judah over all of us. Judah's supposed to be waking up all of us. Judah's supposed to be helping all of his brethren, because the scepter never comes out of Judah's hand. Judah's teeth supposed to be white, as it talks about, as Jacob had blessed him. And it also talks about, because our Savior, our Yahushua HaMashiach came through Judah. So Judah's supposed to be over all of us. And Levi also is a leader over the rest of the tribes as well. And when y'all read their testaments, it talks about that. So basically, a lot of them who are already woke and read the stick of Ephraim, the Book of Mormon, they basically waiting. They waiting for the leaders. All right. So y'all, let's come together. Let's be one. Let's join together and let's be one. So that's the full revelation of Zechariah 4, the 2 olive branches, because we're going to become one stick. It's going to be where we become one stick, and then we become the tree of life. And then we will flow to heal the nations every month. as it talks about in Revelation 2. Because if you remember, we lived as nomads. The Hebrews were nomads, and nomads mean they went from place to place dwelling. And when you look at Yahusha, a Mashiach, he went from place to place healing and dealing with the people and healing the people. And we are basically going to be doing the same exact thing. We're going to be saying everything Yahusha did. We're going to be doing everything Yahusha did. Yahusha said you're going to do greater works. He said you're going to do even greater works. Yahusha had a time span, a lifespan of 33 years here on the earth, and he had an even shorter ministry. So he gonna be like, he like, y'all gonna do even greater things. So when he was on earth, you know, that was his ministry and that was his time span, and we're gonna be doing even greater things. Because why? He resurrected, left his Ruach HaKodesh, and we're going to be in this promise is kept on better promises. Why? Because we got the full promises. Because by then we'll have the full promises, the full promised land. We'll be super intelligent. We ain't going to be perishing no more for lack of knowledge. The Gentiles can't get us and be like, oh, you ain't the people. And we're going to be like, nah, bro, it's written. It is written. Okay? That's how we're going to be. We're going to be like, nah, it's written. And that ain't even going to come up in our land. That's not even going to be able to be spoken. It's not even going to be able to be a plot until the proper time, because y'all know about the war that's got to happen. Magog and Gog ain't done. They ain't done with their wickedness, which y'all read in Revelation. So that's for my elect, and I also talk about it in my other videos. But that's not even, and then that's when Yahushua gonna come down and actually show himself and be like, nah, bruh, you ain't finna come up against my people. But y'all can read about that, Gog and Magog in Revelation. That's when Yahushua gonna come out the sky and be like, ooh, nope. But anyways, y'all, I'm so excited for that time. That is the full revelation. We're gonna be super intelligent. You're not even gonna be able to, as it said in the Torah, they're not even in Deuteronomy 30, you're not even gonna be able to touch us. The Gentiles not even gonna be able to touch you. And he is renewing that covenant back in us again. And we're going to be living as nomads and basically doing everything that Yahusha did when he was here. Saying all the same stuff that Yahusha did when he was here. And this is going to be so good because he's our father and we love him. Oh, we love him so much. All right. So, one tree, one olive branch. He is the vine. We are the branches. All right. All right. So, let's go to point 4. And this video is not going to be that long because I don't have much to these 2 points. Because it's basically written how we're going to be living. But this is how we're going to be living. Like according to like monetary money, and according to wealth, and according to, you know, homes and houses and things like that. And it talks about building houses in scripture. And I believe that we're going to be rediscovering, as I said in my other video, we're going to be rediscovering because we don't even know what's in the land. And by that time, the Holy Convocation is going to change so much stuff, except for the eternal audiences, such as, you know, except for the eternal audiences that are there, that y'all can read about in Torah. But the Holy Convocation is going to change a lot of things that we're going to have to discover the land. And then at the same time, we've never been there. We've never been to Israel, even though we are children of Israel. We come from the soul there, and, you know, we were born in the land of our captors. So we're going to basically be discovering and rediscovering the land. But let's talk about monetary things in our system and economy, because in order for us to be able to have provisions to not have to do any servo work, we're going to have to be pretty wealthy. So let's go to Isaiah 60. And I have another video on this that I did years ago that y'all can check out. It's called Isaiah 60. And it says, Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahuwah is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness people. What's covering the people right now? Gross darkness. Why? Because people don't know who they are. The people sleep. We mix. This is a melting pot. Gross darkness over the people. But Yahuwah shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And Gentiles shall come to thy light, and the kings to thy brightness of the rising, as we talked about before. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see all they gather themselves together. They come to thee, thy sons shall come from far, thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. When thou shalt see it and flow together, and thine heart shall be enlarged. So we're going to be so filled with all, we're going to be like, oh my goodness, you know how your heart's enlarged, and it's just like, wow, like, oh my gosh. Because of the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. So the nation's gonna come to our aid. The nation's gonna help us come into the land. The nation's gonna come and bring us things, and we're gonna be so enlarged, because it's gonna be like, I can't believe it. I don't have to work 70 years just to get something, just to get a little minuscule something, and to barely even have Medicaid. Like, you're not gonna, it's gonna be so different. The Gentiles gonna give you so much. Yahusha's gonna set it up so good. Them Gentiles gonna give you everything. You know, they gonna give you everything. And the Ark of the Covenant. Think about that. Because they got the Ark of the Covenant. Y'all seen that Archetytus? Y'all read Josephus? They gonna give us everything back. Your heart gonna be so enlarged, because it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I didn't have to work 70 years for this. Yahusha made a way for me to get out of this economy. I'm rich. I'm full. I have plenty, as he said. All right, so the forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. Verse 6, the multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries of Midian. Y'all, we finna get, oh my gosh. And Ephah. All they from Sheba shall come. That's Saudi, over there in Saudi Arabia. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of Yahuwah. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Neoboth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance to mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Y'all, oh my gosh. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Verse 8 makes me think of airplanes, because, you know, we finna cross the sea, and we finna be coming over here. Think about how many airplanes gonna have to bring us over here. Y'all think about that. Oh, y'all so good, y'all. He's so good. They're gonna be like, it's gonna have to be the whole Delta gonna have to fund us. The whole Delta, y'all. The whole airline. We gonna have a whole, y'all. Oh my gosh. We finna have a whole airport booming. Oh my goodness. We gonna have to have a whole nother Titanic. Y'all, I hope y'all better be excited watching this video. Cause it's gonna be so good. Surely the Isles, which is UK over there, you know, the Isles, Wales, them islands over there in Europe, shall wait for me. Them Europeans, them Isles, shall wait for me. The ships of Tarshish, that's over there, UK. First. So them people, them Grecians, them Edomites, first. And y'all go watch Isaiah 60, and I talk about it in that other video too. The ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them unto the name of Yahuwah thy Elohim, and the Holy One of Yasharal, which is Yahusha Hamashiach, because he hath glorified thee. Y'all, they gonna be first. The very people that did what they did in slavery, they're gonna be first to get you over there. They're gonna be first. And when y'all listen to Isaiah 60, I talk about the vision that Yahusha, the dream that Yahusha had given me, because it was like I was above the earth. Oh, y'all gotta watch that video. I remember now. Thank you, Yahusha. He's bringing me back to it. It was like I was above the earth. Yahusha had sent me a dream, and I had went away with him, and he was the Lion of Judah. He was a lion, and there was a cheetah, or that other one that looks like a cheetah. What's it called? A leopard. It was either a cheetah or a leopard. It wanted to come and take me, but the lion. I saw the lion, and I went with the lion. I was at one point I was standing behind him, and then it was like I became him and was standing next to him. It was like I was equal. It really felt like that, and I was standing next to him and like holding on to a mane. Like, I don't know if I said that in the video, but everything is recalling now. And it was like I was holding on to his mane and walking alongside with him, and we were going up a tall hill. And eventually it skipped, and it was like I was in the heavens. Like, I was like above the earth. And I was sitting crisscross applesauce, and then there was a hand that came and laid. I was looking down, and it was like a bunch of prophecies being prophesied, and they were actually being prophesied out of my mouth. Like, it was actually me sitting crisscross applesauce, looking over the earth, looking at what was going on, and I was prophesying over it. And there was a white hand that came and touched me. And when I woke up, I was like, Yahusha, why would it be a white hand that had touched me? You know, because I know you're like brass. You're my color. Why would it be white? And he was like, it's not because of that. And when the white hand had touched me, I had looked, and my face had glowed. Literally, my eyes were so wide and full of light. I was so happy. And because when I was prophesying, I was sitting crisscross applesauce, and I was looking down on the earth, and I was prophesying over it. It was saddening. It was a hard thing, and it was saddening. And it was just like, just so much. It was so much. And then when he touched me, and his hand was white, and the hand was white, I looked, and I then began to prophesy things of goodness, things of joy, and my face had lit up, and my eyes were full of light. And I was like, Hamashiach, why was the hand white? Why was your hand white? And I know it was your hand. And it was just like, why was your hand white? And he showed me this. And he showed me it was because they'll be first. They'll tell you first. Edom gonna get you. They're gonna tell you something so good is gonna happen. And after all those things that are being prophesied and being poured out over the earth, hallelujah. The holy convocation that's being poured out over the earth right now. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, yeah. The holy convocation that's being poured out over the earth right now, that the prophets are connecting together. The prophets are connecting together, and they'll tell you the times, as I'm doing and as I did in my dream. Y'all, I'm full of the Ruach, because it's just like when you realize you're an actual prophet, it's something else. When you start putting stuff together in Yahusha, you understand why Yahusha took you through all that stuff. Hey, and you understand why Yahusha was doing this stuff, why you got it hard, why you got it harder. You start to understand. You really start to understand, guys. And it's like he'll share stuff with you that don't nobody else know, that ain't nobody else sharing, so that the people can know and that they can prepare and that they can get ready. But as it was in a dream, I was prophesying the basically the Holy Convocation. And then when it was time, the white hand came and touched me, and that's when he showed me this. And he said, they'll be first. They're going to tell you about yourself. They're going to go and get you. Because it says, sure the isle shall wait for me, the ships of Tarshish first to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahuwah Elohim, and the Holy One, who is Yahushua HaMashiach of Yasharal, because he hath glorified thee. And you guys can finish reading it, and it'll talk about all the people that are going to bring us things and bring us wealth. There's going to be so much wealth. I'm going to cut this video short. I'm just going to tell y'all the scriptures. So read Isaiah 60. Watch the video Isaiah 60. And then you guys also read Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, because it shows how we're going to be living. We're going to be living prosperously and very wealthy. And the wealth of the nations is going to come to us. We're going to get all of our things back. Y'all, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yahushua bless you, and he make his face to shine upon you. He bless you, Yah. He bless you. He bless you, Yasharal. And I thank you guys. Shalom, peace. Shalom, peace to you.